The game that almost ruined everything I love. No, not that. After the buggy release of Gothic 3 and the terrible state of Gothic 3 The Forsaken Gods, the future of this franchise didn't look really bright to say the least. Piranha Bytes, the developers of Gothic franchise, sold the license to Joe Wood, their ex-publisher. Joe Wood was given the rights to make a fourth Gothic game and the expansion, but after that the license goes back to the original developers. This game came out in late 2010 and it was almost the final nail in the coffin for this franchise. If we take a look at the game today, we'll see there is no Gothic 4 in the title, only Arcania. Long story short, Joe Wood went bankrupt and THQ Nordic bought all the assets from them. In the meantime, the license for Gothic AP went back to Piranha Bytes and the name got changed from Gothic 4 Arcania to Arcania only. But why do I think this game almost ruined the franchise? Was Arcania that bad? Well, not really. By itself, the game was decent, but it was a terrible Gothic game for a lot of reasons. The game was really linear. I don't have problems with linear games, not at all, but making a linear Gothic game feels so wrong if you played any previous Gothic title. This franchise is known for having amazing worlds with lots of interesting things to do and most importantly player freedom. Quoting one of my viewers, Gothic 3 for example was a world you could truly live and do your thing, the very promise that every RPG makes and almost none keeps. The last part of this sentence really makes you think. Only a few RPGs actually keep this promise. The second major problem I had with Arcania is the story. Why? The short answer would be it's just really bland and the new main character doesn't bring anything new to the table. I'm not saying that our nameless hero, the main villain in Arcania by the way, Robert III, was particularly interesting, but over the course of 3 games he built a good relationship with a lot of NPCs from the franchise, which made me care about him and those NPCs as well. I'm not denying that Nameless Hero was really bland, but this was a design choice because this made it easier for us to mold him as we like with the choices we made. The new protagonist in Arcania is also nameless, but he's known as Shepherd of Feshir. I really think that this game would have a much better story in general if Spellbound went with different approach to storytelling and not just copy and paste the formula from the previous games. Instead of a new nameless hero, they could give us some fleshed out main character with a strong backstory and make the game more narrative. Or even better, they could have placed one of our old buddies as the main character. This would make the story much deeper than just some cliché revenge quest. And since Arcania was going for a linear approach, story-driven style would definitely be a better choice in my opinion. And what about the gameplay? Well, it was actually really good. It's probably the strongest aspect of this game, which is ironic because in previous Gothic titles the gameplay was considered to be the weakest part, especially in Gothic 3. No matter what style of fighting you choose in Arcania, you're gonna have a good time playing. Speaking about different styles of play, it was your typical warrior, ranger or a mage, but you could mix up those classes however you see fit. In general, the gameplay was nothing revolutionary, but a solid third-person combat experience. Too bad the world was uninspiring and far from the quality of previous Gothic titles. The length of the game was around 20 to 30 hours max, and you really didn't have the reason to do more playthroughs. The fans of the series were disappointed and worried about the future of this IP. After the terrible release of Gothic 3 The Forsaken Gods, this was another slap in the face to Gothic franchise. And even though Piranha Bytes got the license back, they are probably really afraid of not meeting the expectations if they decide to make another Gothic game. They are also aware if the next Gothic game flops, that's probably the end of this franchise forever and that could only bring more damage than worth. I've talked a lot about the possibilities of a new game in this video, so you can check that out if you want to hear more about this topic. Let's just hope that against all odds, we'll get to see another good Gothic game in our lifetime. Be sure to leave a thumbs up if you like the video, consider subscribing for more content, and check out my Patreon if you want to support this channel in the long run. See ya in the next one.